truly world-transforming technologies.
And so you were involved in development of technologies that resulted in your personal gain
Of wealth,
significant wealth.
of significant wealth.
And I remember you're saying, I think I remember this, something about how at one point, though, you had this wake-up that was like, ick. Am I remembering that right?
Basically, and part of the ick was not really that much about the business and the process.
Right.
I am now learning as I'm re-engaging in it with newfound energy and vigor, and it's discovered that it is a very strong passion of mine to be around and associated with this process, even though I do it a little differently now than I would have 15 years ago. The ick part was more about me and more about the condition that I held myself in as a person, and the level of the intensity and focus that I had to force because I was not clear and clean and energetically in balance within me. I had a bunch of junk going on inside of me, but if that manifests, it gets in the way of the other capabilities, and so there's junk inside, there's pressure placed on the junk to bury it, to get it out of the way, and then you drive yourself to perform. And so I'm driving myself to perform right from the neck up, and the rest of this feels like crap, and that's the part that gets unsustainable and go, I just have to stop. Now, when I stopped, it wasn't clear to me whether that was the way I needed to get myself into the headspace, the place to be able to perform in this environment. And if I wanted to relax and wanted to balance, that I would either not be able to go back, or if I went back, I would revert.
Right. Yes, you've been saying that for years.
The great news for me personally is no, I'm not reverting. I'm actually better at it now than I was before. Not only am I not reverting, but my presentation and my explanations and my sharings, my attempt to add value to what these companies are working on is more balanced and more powerful now than it was before, because I also now bring in explanations from the energetic world to the extent that I understand it, from the right side of my brain as well as the left side. Terrific, specific example here with this company I've been working with, who are just really wrestling with one of the executives, and it was difficult to tell if he was doing his good job or not. It just wasn't working very well, and the attempt was to sort of analyze and kind of check off, is he, study on a very objective basis, is he doing this, is he doing that, do the next thing. They asked my opinion, and I told, I'm not looking at that. Pay attention to how he feels. Watch what he does. Watch what happens when he comes into a room. He's not very mature. He doesn't like a lot of ambiguity. I want my executives to thrive in ambiguity. It's part of why they're there. They love it. They are the scouts. They're the people out there figuring stuff out that hasn't been figured out yet, so the rest of the people can work on it. This fellow doesn't like that. And then when he gets hit with something that's ambiguous, he becomes very uncomfortable. He makes that your problem. And I picked up a piece from the Lipton seminar that I'd seen before, but he described it in a really nice way about constructive and destructive interference. Depending, you have your energy waves, and if you line the peaks up properly, when they come together, they get bigger. And when they come in out of phase, they get smaller. And what this fellow learned to do when he was uncomfortable is he sort of sensed the energy in the room, figured its phase and flow, and he'd launch something deliberately out of phase into it and bring the whole room down. And until you fixed it for him, he kept doing that. Nothing to do with whether he knows anything about engineering. I don't care. He can't be there. that's not going to get fixed in 30 days. You can't put him on a plane. He can't be there. So they decided he can't be there. Fascinating. The very next meeting, I walk into the staff meeting, and everybody's getting ready. You can just feel them getting ready for this fellow to walk in. And then they finally figure out he's not coming. And the room just goes, and that was the beginning of a new level of working relationship with the rest of the people. But I wouldn't have come up with that 5 years ago. I wouldn't have dared to attempt to explain a business decision in an energetic context. But I really believe it was the right context. It was very powerful and very useful, and it worked. So now as I return, it's easier for the energy to flow. It's easier for my enthusiasm to come out because I think I'm in a little bit better shape internally. Not blocking, not hiding, not all knotted up. And it still seems that I am able to add value. And so it's going to be a different adventure. And one that I think is sustainable for quite some time. So we'll see what the gods bring me.
We got 4 minutes, but this is beautiful.
And I'm optimistic. People aren't going to be down forever. You start thinking about some of the Norman Vincent Peale, some of the tough times never last, tough people do. And you start thinking about some of these things. We've been through this as a people before. We decided a little while ago we didn't want to have recessions anymore. When you and I were growing up, there were business cycles. We'd go 2 or 3 good years, and then we have a lousy year. And then they would cleanse out. And the thing that reminds me of is this battle we have with the forests here. And should we allow, the foresters are arguing, allow the cleansing fires to occur to get rid of the brush so that you don't ever really, that everybody gets up that way. So the cleansing fire, we stop the cleansing fires in the economy. The cleansing fire of a 4-year cycle would have cleaned out a ton of these stupid loans when it only was 2 or 3%. Now we got 12, 15, or 20. So what happens in the forest happens here too. The scrub brush gets so dense and so full, and you're trying to keep the fire from occurring. When the fire comes, and it always does, the brush is so full now that it actually gets hot enough to burn down the big trees, and you get a scraping out of it. So you end up over the long period of time without really having to create anything at all. And that doesn't really seem to make much sense. So maybe we need to get back to that too, where we do have this expectation, we do have this set of cycles, and know it's going to be good for, it goes for a while, then it comes back, and it goes for a while, it comes back. So it could be that that's part of what ends up being another part of the change. That's more real. Another part of the change. But that's to try to close on the question you asked about my background in part of the journey is being very fortunate to have participated in, not invented anything, but just participated in the popularization, I would say, of some of these networking and interconnectivity technologies and the innovations that have changed the world in very legitimate ways, and may have laid the foundation for the end of war as well, as you and I know it. If we get enough meshing occurring, end of war, and we get enough interconnectivity amongst the new set of people coming up, it's going to be an awful lot harder to fight with each other.
Yeah. Wow. This is fantastic. Thank
So
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you've got really 52 seconds. You don't have to fill it up either.
No, I wish you great luck on this adventure. This is going to be really something.
It really is. It's really